Hey there, fellow art lovers and fans of all things painted. Welcome back to my regular viewers, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm Cal, and it's great to have you here. It's the 20th day of Spooky Month, and today's theme is Gazing into the Crystal. Okay, here's one where I immediately knew what I was going to do. The moment I heard the theme, I thought, fortune tellers. So I went looking for pictures of fortune tellers, crystal balls, that kind of thing. I started by sketching out the pose I was going for. I had the head slightly tilted to one side and gave her some flashy earrings and a bandana. I sketched one hand hovering over the crystal ball, which will be sitting on the table in front of her. Initially, I was going to give her long nails, but later scrapped this. And the other hand held up a tarot card. I sketched in the table the crystal was sitting on and added an incense burner. I've never been to a fortune teller's, but I always imagine them dimly lit with the heady smell of incense. Now for color. The color scheme for this piece went through a few iterations. I started with a green skin tone. Perhaps this was to be an orc given the tusks. But I quickly changed it to turquoise. I decided to give her some elbow-length gloves in a deep pink color, and it was around here I'd scrapped the idea of her having long nails. But after adding in the hair, the jewelry, and the facial features, I just felt the color scheme still wasn't working, so I changed the skin tone again to something a bit closer to a natural tone. The hue saturation tool comes in very handy here. I kept up with the purple theme for her dress and used the circle tool to make a crystal ball, lowering the opacity a bit so it's a little bit more translucent. But after painting in the table, I figured that the hand holding up the tarot card didn't really make much sense, so I changed it up to be a similar pose to the other hand. After that, I painted in the cushions in a turquoise color to separate them from her dress. After painting in the incense and the background, I began shading, using masks set to multiply for the shadows and the same set to screen for highlights. I started with her body and head area. In this piece, the lighting is coming up from the bottom, so mostly the top edges are in shadow. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what this character is. Tusks like an orc, ears like a goat, and a wide snout-like nose. Perhaps she's her own thing. What do you guys think? For the cushions, the shadows are deeper wherever her shadow would be cast over them, and because they're sitting further back into the background where the light doesn't reach. I added some more shading to the fingers to define each one and stop them globbing together. After doing more shading, it was time to start adding in the highlights where the light source reaches. I used a soft eraser to remove the center of the crystal ball and changed the background to blue to make the character pop. Then I added some highlights to the eyes, shaded the crystal ball, and added some shadows where her hands are hovering over the table. And lastly, I put a dark vignette centered on the crystal ball and added a bit more texture to the hair. And we're done. At first I wasn't sure how well this one would come out with all the changes I made, but I think it looks alright. What do you think? If you enjoyed what you just watched, please be sure to leave the video a like and subscribe and ring the bell to see more content. If you want to support my art, you can find a link to my Ko-Fi in the description. And if you want to get straight into some more art, you can go and watch this video for my latest content. Or this one for something random.